Like, when we pool our resources together, we can do some pretty amazing things. Like go to the moon. We can do that with technology that isn't much better than your fucking calculator at home. Not your phone, your calculator. Like I'm talking about an old monochrome, that was about the same technology that was present in the moon landing. The rovers, they had like the processing power wasn't much better than a calculator today. So we can do this, or we can just do this glorified dick measuring space race shit.
Amateurs can fucking suck it, fuck their wives, drink their blood. Come on, Jeff, get 'em!
That's a cover of Bezos by Bo Burnham, but the cover is made by I Can't Stop Making Noise. If you would like to add that to your playlists. And of course, today is the big day. Today, well, it was the big day. He's already successfully gone into outer space and returned. And I know it's very popular. It's in vogue right now for the left to shit upon it, to shit therein, right? To throw caca upon the entire ordeal instead of celebrating, which should be a monumentous accomplishment. A single individual amassed enough wealth to be able to propel himself into the outer space, the outer rim, as it were. Not the outer rim job, as I'm sure most people are thinking of when they want to throw their duty upon Jeffrey Bezos. Now, here's the thing. As most of you, I'm sure, were young boys at one point, young lads, or maybe you were young girls, or even young non-binary individuals. You probably had dreams, as I did, to get into space, to explore the universe. And who didn't? It sounded like the coolest thing in the world, and until, of course, you learn how habitable space truly is. I mean, if you want to get up there, your muscles are going to atrophy, and you're going to have to work out like 6 or 7 hours a day in 0G just to be able to not have yourself turn into a little sponge. You're going to turn into a little bowl of soup if you're not working out like 6 or 7 hours a day. Doesn't sound great. Then there's the radiation. The radiation isn't awesome either. That one's pretty brutal. There's all those problems. But when everything is said and done, it's pretty cool, and Jeffrey Bezos achieved it. Now, I don't have a problem with human beings getting into space. In fact, I encourage it. I would love multiple people to get into space. I would like to eventually explore space and have, we've talked about it before. This thing. Yeah. This is ultimately what we all want to achieve. My biggest problem comes from an individual who amassed wealth through the exploitation of hundreds of thousands of other people while simultaneously not paying any taxes. Yeah. So I know there's that old adage where it's like we have a lot of problems here on Earth, and you could actually do something to really help and fix them. But instead you're using all your wealth to do boy toy things. So Jeffrey Bezos is in essence the largest boy toy of them all, right? That's what they're doing. So it would be great. It would be awesome if we could get into space and explore. But at the end of the day, you don't become a billionaire like with a capital B without having to exploit a lot of people along the way or inherit it. I mean, there's those rare cases where people just inherit a vast amount of wealth. But for Jeffrey Bezos to become Jeffrey Bezos, CEO, entrepreneur, born in 1964, well, he had to do some shit.
All of the engineers at Blue Origin who have toiled hard to get this done, the people who build the vehicle, all of our manufacturing people. This is a big team. They've been working on it for many years, and they have done an extraordinary job of building the most reliable, most beautiful, most fun. I mean, I can vouch for that. I'll get to that in a second. Vehicle, and we owe them a deep gratitude. And the people who kept us safe today, who operated the vehicle, our trainers, everybody. It's just huge. I also want to thank the town of Van Horn. This is a small and amazing little town, and we're making a dent in it, and we appreciate you for allowing us to be part of your town. And then I want to thank every Amazon employee and every Amazon customer, because you guys paid for all of this. So seriously, for every Amazon customer out there and every Amazon employee, thank you from the bottom of my heart very much. It's very appreciated.
Well, oh my. He said the quiet part out loud. I mean, yeah. That's pretty much it. That explains everything there. You did all make this possible. Every single one of you. All of you, the honorable few who are pissing and shitting in bags and bottles so that we can get products delivered to us ever so quick. And you've just cornered the market and monopolized it to the point where there isn't really an alternative, especially in this pandemic age. Like, I think every single one of us is using Amazon more than ever because, yeah, I can get the product cheaper than I can anywhere else. I can get it delivered to me within 24 hours. I'll have it inside my home. So yeah, I guess you win. You win, Jeffrey. Game over. Well done. But space is cool. Space is cool. Something else to think about, by the way. Again, because we have so many problems here on Earth, would be what exactly are the billionaires planning to do with this whole, what's the appropriate way to say that, clusterfuck, with the clusterfuck that we have on Earth, what with the climate change and the global warming. I don't know which part of the world y'all are in. For me, here in Canada, we're on fire. Like Canada is just burning. The whole country. Like across the board, if you look right now, there's just fires in most parts of Canada, and there's smoke everywhere. So we're on fire. Are any of y'all in Germany? Because if you're in Germany, you're probably having a different problem. You're having a different power from the Captain Planet lexicon. You probably got water. Water has been activated. Or if you live in Belgium, for example, so you're probably flooding out there. That's yet another one. North California is on fires too. Yeah, that's another thing. It seems like this is basically what the whole world looks like right now. But then we've got, of course, the coolness of this, because it is really cool. It's probably cool in there too. There's probably a very nice air ventilation, some air circulation, some AC going on, all that kind of stuff. But there's a lot of problems here on planet Earth. Our planet, the one that we need, to kind of fix immediately, and quickly. Austria was pumping out my parents' basement this weekend. Holy shit! Wow, that's wild. UK has tornadoes. Yeah, so does Oregon. Oregon has fire tornadoes, and they look so cool. Don't get me wrong. They look really, really, really badass. It's like something straight out of a horror film. Let's see the California fire tornadoes. Like it's very cool. It's like something out of a Michael Bay film. Look at this Michael Bay film.
We're watching a spectacular fire tornado down there right on the fire line. We're just going to keep an eye on this just for a few more seconds here. Let the viewers watch this as well. This is what's going on inside the smoke.
I mean, it kind of looks like a really cool spell in Raid Shadow Legends. It's probably a good time to tell everyone that I'm now sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends. So if you want to get your Surf expansion kit, you can. They don't have a lot of power. In fact, they're mostly just useless plebs. But I mean, they are playable characters. They're usually covered in their own feces. They do have a feces cast spell, which of course doesn't do much. Your characters basically shit themselves, but again, they're playable characters. So if you want to join me and millions of other players, playing Raid Shadow Legends, then please come join the fun. It's not addictive. It cannot hurt you in any way, shape, or form. It's only good for you. Don't forget about that. But my point with all this being is that we have a lot of problems here on Earth. I've read a handful of articles in prominent leftist pinko communist publications like The Atlantic or Wired, stuff like that, talking about what exactly are billionaires planning to do with the upcoming climate change catastrophe and, a little bit of destabilization with society. How are they planning to tackle it? And one of them was a theoretical physician, as well as someone who works pretty conclusively in game theory and something else. And they're like, we had all these meetings with some of the leading tech billionaire CEOs, and we were wondering to ourselves what exactly was going to be their approach to all this. And all they wanted to ask us was how they can mitigate the dangers for their upcoming lives, like individually, each one of them. Yeah, sorry, not theoretical physicians. That's not what I meant to say. Yeah, theoretical physicians. There was, physicians can be theoretical. There is that, of course. Yeah, don't worry about that. No, I'm joking. That was a bit. The Atlantic is not communist. I was trying to emphasize the fact that these were pretty concerned liberal magazines. But yeah. That's what it came down to. Is he was astounded to find out that a room full of some of the most powerful men in the world, individuals worth billions of dollars, that they weren't concerned with what they could do to contribute towards stopping this. They were way more concerned with what they can do to better their own lives in the upcoming situation they find ourselves in. So there's that. There's that whole mess. And it doesn't really seem like those who have extracted the most amount of surplus value from us, namely, your Jeffrey Bezos, your Mark Zuckerbergs, your Jack Dorseys. And I'm someone who gives Jack Dorsey so much free content every day. Every time I tweet, I don't make a cent from it. And what are they going to do once they've amassed all this wealth? Are they going to use it for humanity, the team they're a part of, or are they going to get worried about any of this? And I can already hear what the libs are saying about this segment. They're probably like, well, Lance, come on, they don't have millions of dollars in a Scrooge McDuck-esque vault. That's shareholder value. Jeffrey Bezos' enormous wealth is in his value in shares. Okay, and there's nothing you can do to transfer that money into any kind of tangible wealth either. Well, why don't we start with this? Why don't we start with his workers should have shares. His workers should have way more control in the company. That would be a good place to start. We can begin with that. And also, these people exude an enormous amount of power and influence in the world, so they can certainly contribute towards mitigating or slowing climate change and climate disasters. We've been told numerous times that we should be doing things like planting billions of dollars worth of trees. I believe $300 billion to $400 billion worth of trees could buy us an additional 20 years before things really ramp up horrifically. But they're not. But they're not. Yeah, I mean, he could start with that. Why not let your workers not have to piss and shit in bags anymore? I mean, it's not going to save the planet, but it'll certainly save their bowels. I don't know. Could just be me.
In the last hour, the Amazon founder and billionaire Jeff Bezos has returned from his maiden space voyage. The New Shepard craft blasted off with its crew, including Bezos' brother and the youngest and oldest people to have ever been into space. It's the first commercial flight for the tycoon's Blue Origin space tourism company. The capsule reached a height of around 100 kilometers above Earth, just on the edge.
I know we always joke about how they always look like penises, but that one was particularly phallic. I mean, it wasn't very TOS. I mean, come on, that was just a big old cock. It was a big old cock going into space,
of space. The passengers experienced about 3 minutes of being weightless before beginning their
I
descent.
think BBC has a pass. Most mainstream news sources do.
The capsule landed
and
safely
you get
at T plus 10 minutes. An elated Jeff Bezos and crew emerged shortly after on the Texas launch site. He could be heard describing the trip as the best day ever. Live now to Rob Reynolds, who's near that launch site
Blake,
for
very
us
good
in
point.
Van Horn, Texas. So, Rob, just walk us through the events of the past 60 minutes.
Well, Peter, it was a pretty exciting time for people watching all around the world, and for us here to be able to see the contrail of the rockets shooting straight up into the air was really an amazing sight.
Such a penis
The blast off came after a couple of delays, but when it did come, it was without incident. The rocket by Jeff that has been developed by Jeff Bezos' Blue Origin.
And again, don't get me wrong, this would be so cool. It would be so incredibly cool. Like I would love to be in the tip, just the tip. You know, I would love to feel just the tip. I think it would be a wonderful, splendid thing. But that doesn't change the larger picture. You know, like we need to gain focus on what's happening. Don't get distracted by the tip, everybody.
Corporation with the Shepard 2 capsule on top reached an altitude of about 100 kilometers above the Earth. The speed of the ascent was 3 times the speed of sound, Mach 3.
Like, you know, when we pool our resources together, we can do some pretty amazing things. Like go to the moon. We can do that with technology that isn't much better than your fucking calculator at home. Not your phone, your calculator. Like I'm talking about an old monochrome, you know. That was about the same technology that was present in the moon landing. The rovers, they had like the processing power wasn't much better than a calculator today. So we can do this. Or we can just do this glorified dick measuring space rate shit.
So they were really feeling the G-forces, I'm sure, as they were strapped in that capsule. Then the booster rocket detached, floated back to Earth where it landed intact. And after several minutes of weightlessness and a lot of shouting and gleeful noise from the 4 passengers in the
oh please play us the inside. I want to hear Jeff Bezos billionaire laugh and going off in there.
Fully automated capsule, it too began its descent and deployed its parachutes, landed softly and successfully in the Texas desert. And then we are now waiting for a press conference by Jeff Bezos and the other 3 newly minted astronauts, which should take place in an hour or 2 from now. We haven't been given an exact time for that event to take place, but we will certainly hear more from these new space travelers about what their experience was like. And, you know, Peter, for those of us who are old enough to remember the early days of space exploration, both the Russian or Soviet exploits and the American Apollo program that reached the moon 52 years ago today, which is no coincidence, by the way. Of course, Jeff Bezos planned it that way. These images really did kind of, I think, return that sense of excitement, that sense of crossing a new frontier, that sense of
astronauts,
new possibilities,
cosmonauts,
escaping from Earth's bonds and going into space, albeit for just a few minutes. And that really, I think, is something that perhaps is the most significant thing that might come away from this. Sure, it was in part ego.
What was the cost of this? Cost of Jeff Bezos' space trip. So he's charging $30 million for one of these rides. It works out to about $2.54 million per minute. to go on his roller coaster.
Abilities there might be for mankind in doing so.
He's going to corner an $800 billion market. I guess, yeah, there'd only be like a few people offering this, and there's definitely a lot of billionaires who want to go on this little rocket ship ride.
Not simply as a stunt, but as perhaps some way of finding lasting scientific discoveries and contributions for the people.
Oh, yes, lasting scientific discoveries, sending Jeff Bezos to the stratosphere for like 2 minutes. That'll definitely further the human experience.
People of Earth.
Dear of mankind, forgive me, Rob, for my next question. I'm not going to ask you anything about to do with a potential space race between wealthy entrepreneurs who are worth billions and billions. You and I have spent the last 18 months talking about COVID and coronavirus and massive death tolls and massive infection rates. Is there a link of commonality, however, between the events today and the space missions of the Apollo era?
Yeah, no, that's just the potential profit he's going to make. I couldn't find something yet on the actual cost. Jeff Bezos trip cost, but yeah, if you see something, send me a link.
When it was at its height, and its hope, it's about America being allowed to feel good again about.
It says his space trip will cost $2.54 million per minute that he's in space. It's about $2.5 million a minute, around there.
America, there's good times coming back. It kind of inculcates that atmosphere of, oh, this has been a success. We can enjoy this.
The cost of his trip would have fed 16,425 people for the entire year. So 16,000 Americans could have had food for a year. But that's not how that works, right?
For some,
it's not on him.
I think...
It's not on Jeff to pay or feed people. That's not his responsibility. It has nothing to do with that. Well, I know everyone is defending Jeffrey Bezos online, and at the same time, like flipping out at the lefties who are showing any kind of like indifference to the whole thing. Like, well, what, do you not care about ingenuity and furthering human progress and sending human beings to space? And I want to be like, we did this. We've already sent we landed on the fucking moon multiple times. I think we've done it like 7 times. When we pool our resources together, and when we work on a government funded program like NASA, yeah, we can achieve incredible things. I'm not disputing any of that. Again, I'm very eager for human beings to explore space. That is utterly fascinating to me. I was a child once too. Okay, I love all this. What I don't want is like the idea that people are getting up there and affording to do so as a lark, as a joyride, as a roller coaster, on the backs of like hundreds of thousands of employees, right? Like their labor has to be exploited to be able to extract that much surplus value, to be able to get enough money, to be able to just do this as a lark, as a giant space dildo measuring contest.
Yes, but we live in a very different America than we did in 1969 when human beings first stepped on the moon. It's a divided country. There are people who refuse to believe the coronavirus is a real thing. There are people who know the coronavirus is a real thing and yet refuse to get readily available injections to prevent it. There are those who refuse to wear masks. So the politicized atmosphere that exists in 2021 is far different from.
We grew up reading weekly readers about commercial spaceflight. We have dreamed about this for decades. It's cool, it's exciting, and you're trading an awe and inspiration for salty and pissy because it's a billionaire making it happen. Go fuck yourselves. The second recipient of the $100 million award was Chef Jose Andres, founder of the food relief non-working kitchen. He's known for providing hunger relief in areas and experiencing natural disasters. He now has $100 million to continue his nonprofit work. That's all great. Those are all good things. How much does Jeffrey Bezos donate in terms of altruism in relation to his wealth? Have you ever worked that out? Because when he donated a whole bunch of money to the Australian wildfires, it turned out it was about the equivalent of you donating something like 20 cents to the same cause. Even
the again, highly politicized and conflicted atmosphere of the late 1960s. But having said all that, I think, yes, there will be certainly some people who will feel this is an accomplishment. This shows what people with great engineering skills, with enormous scientific knowledge, with about belief in science, which is important, what they can do and what they can accomplish. And that does carry with it some message for the current state of affairs here on Earth with regard to our global pandemic.
Here on Earth, for sure. Rob, many thanks. Rob Reynolds reporting live there from Van Horn in Texas. Well, earlier this month, the entrepreneur Richard Branson, as we've been hearing, took off his specially designed rocket plane. They are both major milestones.
Does the streamer read this chat? I don't know. Does he? There's no way of knowing.
Do you want movies and Serfs watching the movies? So then come over to the new channels. It's the Serfs cinema. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Can you do the thing, that thumbs up and comment and all those things that help us out in the algorithm that controls every aspect of our lives? Also, if you happen to have a Facebook account, can you delete it? Like just delete it. You should probably delete your Facebook account because it's not a great company. But hey, if you can't do that for whatever reason, I understand. And could you also go to facebook.com/thesurftimes then and give us a little like and a follow. We're just trying to push back against the fact that people like Ben Shapiro happen to dominate the platform entirely. And when everyone asks why do older generations believe the things they believe, one of the problems is the majority of them on social media use Facebook. So to counter that, we're just going to be on there too now. Also, if you happen to have a union or a worker co-op or even a leftist project, podcast, website, Zoom, MySpace, it doesn't matter. We will advertise it for free on this channel. All you got to do is go to weareserfs.com and use the forms that we got there, weareserfs.com. Thanks, everybody.
To our wonderful gods, Xander Corvus, VK Jehannam, T. Grow, and Peyton L. Just, may you smite all of our enemies. To our monarchs, Tom Spiker and the Tim Caucus, we are your humble servants, ready to do all your bidding. To our lords, Evan Nudie, Trevor R., Alexander Thaler, Ryan Lubin, and Jeff Lamb, we shall proudly carry your banner on the online battlefield. To our Knights of the Round Table, Val 9000, Jenna Tao, Dark Puppy, Quiet 185, Anna Loves Riley, Omni, Riley and Anna, Poodlehawk, Multimondi, Trevor Janis, Lemmy 101, Anthropophojack, Saren 42, Chronic the Hemphog, Phone Jenny, Radical Maniac, Ramon Acosta, Jimmy Big Nuts, Violent Orchard, Sophie Baby, Political Puppy, Andreas Chiringuito, Zach Christensen, Yopi, Josh Mickelson, Todd Buckingham, and Todd Lajeunesse. We raise our glass and we raise our swords and we salute you.